All right, happy Tuesday morning, March 31st. Here is our language practice for the day. We're going to circle the word that completes the sentence. So let's read our sentence. Let me find my pretty pen that I don't know where I stuck. Hang on. Here we go. So it says circle the word that completes the sentence. The sentence says, watching the fiery hot lava flow into the ocean was an blank experience. An incredible experience or an inedible experience. So I have to use what I know here. First of all, I know that because my next word starts with a vowel, I am going to use an instead of a. So I know that inedible means something that I cannot eat, right? So we'll put a line through that. Can't eat. So watching the fiery hot lava flow into the ocean was an inedible experience? No, I don't think so. Right, it was an incredible experience. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Add an ending to volcano to mean more than one volcano. Now, I'm going to show you something and you're going to say, wait a minute. But here's our word volcano. This is a noun that ends in an O. So there are some rules associated here, but volcano breaks those rules. You can spell the plural, meaning more than one. You can spell the plural volcanoes with E-S on the end, or you can spell it without the E. Both are actually acceptable, although this one with the E is used more than this one. Both are acceptable. But if I were you, since most people use this one, this is the one I would stick with. All right, here we go. Choose the type of sentence. Have you ever watched a volcano erupt? What type of sentence is this? Declarative, exclamatory, or interrogative? Interrogative. You may say that word both ways. This one can be said exclamatory. I can't think of another word. Declarative. That's how they're said. All right, here we go, guys. So am I declaring something when I read this sentence that has a question mark at the end? Am I exclaiming something where I would use that? What do I use for declarative? That's right, a period. Or is this an interrogative or interrogative type of sentence where I would use a question mark? You tell me, right? Number 4. What resource would you use to find the location of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines? Would you use an atlas, a dictionary, or a thesaurus? Let's think about that. So if I was to use a thesaurus, that would be a book that would give me alternative words to use. A dictionary would give me what? That's right, definitions. And what is an atlas? That's right, guys. It is a book of maps. So if I want to know the location of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines, which resource would I use? All right, and let's look at number 5 now. Which passage represents an attention-grabbing beginning for an article comparing different types of volcanoes? Remember, today we're going to write our rough draft, and we're going to have a hook for it. So let's look at this one. Which passage represents an attention-grabbing beginning for an article comparing different types of volcanoes? 3 well-known types of volcanoes are cinder cone, shield, and composite. Each has characteristics that help to distinguish it from the others. Well, that's a very informative beginning, isn't it? Let's read the next one. Which was it? Was it a violent explosion raining blobs of hardened lava, or a quiet overflow that oozed molten lava? All volcanoes erupt, but the manner in which they erupt determines what type of volcano they are. So you tell me on number 5, which one has the better hook or the better attention-grabbing beginning? Which one gets your attention more? Okay, you tell me. Okay, let's move on. We're going to move on to our vocabulary. Today our prefix is ped. And ped means what? We've studied this one. Ped means foot. So you have pedestrian, pedal, and bipedal. Ooh, two prefixes that you know. Okay, so I want you to use one of these words in a sentence down here in this first box. Don't forget, punctuation, spelling counts, right? Look here, I just gave you the answer to this one, so this one's easy for you, right? What does ped mean? I'll help you out. Ped means foot. I want you to draw a picture that represents ped to you. And whoop whoop, bonus. If bi means two, look here, we saw it up here, bipedal. If bi means two, which animal is bipedal? Is it an elephant or an ostrich? Whoops. How many feet does an elephant have? How many feet does an ostrich have? Which one of those is bipedal? That takes care of vocabulary for the day. Now let's pull out our writing lesson. I can get through my paperwork. Here we go. Yesterday, on Monday, March 30th, we talked about our brainstorming. I don't know what you wrote in your box. I'm waiting for you to send me pictures of your work. But I hope you brainstormed. If you could be anyone for one day, who would you choose to be? What would you do? Okay, imagine you're that person for the whole day, and then we're going to write a paragraph telling about one thing that you did that day, okay? We want 5 to 8 sentences. We want a hook. We want details and description, conclusion sentence, and this is where you're going to start your rough draft. It even gives us a nice little sentence starter, if I could be anyone. Now, I told you yesterday that I chose doctor, president, veterinarian, and astronaut. But I was thinking some more about this, and there was a couple of other things I thought of. And I'm not going to add them here, but if you think of extra things as you go through this process, it's okay if you add it and kind of rethink what you want to do. That's always okay. So then today we want to write our rough draft. If I could be anyone. And I want you to start with that. If I could be anyone, I would be, and then tell me what that is. And then I want you to think of a hook. Now here's the other thing. You don't have to use this as your sentence starter. You can use a hook that sounds, let's say that I chose to be an astronaut, okay? I might start with, can you imagine what it would be like to float above the world? Now that is how I would begin mine. That is my hook, by asking a question, and that's always a great way to start. Next, you're going to need to add detail to your story. Well, how far away is that? How far would I have to go up to float? What program would I have to enter? Could I go on the International Space Station? There's so many things that we could think about if I could be anyone for a day, and if I chose, right, my narrative. We're only writing a paragraph. We're not writing a whole big long story. So I want you to start with your hook. Then I want some detail here. Don't repeat yourself over and over again. Remember, new words, new sentences, new thoughts, new ideas, okay? But we're only going to cover what it would like to be like to be an astronaut for a day. That's Miss Simpson's paper, but yours is probably going to have something different on it, okay? So the other thing is, and I mentioned this in the first video, guys, so I don't know which order you're watching these in, but I want you to make sure that you are looking at your novel study choice board. Every day you're supposed to be reading a chapter from your chapter book. That's either a book that you're reading online through that Junior League Guild website that we shared the link with, or you've picked up a book when you picked up your lessons for the week that you're borrowing from the school. Every day you are to read a chapter, do something from here, and then I want you to upload that to Class Dojo so that I can see your work and I can see what you're doing. In the meantime, until Wednesday, April 1st, you take care of yourself and take care of each other, and I will see you tomorrow.